Welcome to Hideaway Range. Today we're talking about the 8mm Mauser, specifically the Karabiner 98 Kurz, or better known as the K98K.
This rifle shoots the 7.92 by 57mm, also known as the 8mm Mauser.
You see this one still has the cleaning rod. 1575 here, that's the serial number on the collar, barrel collar. 1575 on the receiver. 1575 on the barrel. 1575 on the butt plate. It also says 1575 on the stock. 3084A. Well, it looks like the bolt's been replaced. Not uncommon for these rifles. It's got the B&Z code, which indicates it was made in Steyr, Austria, at the Steyr Daimler Puch factory in 1941. We'll talk about that middle mark in a minute. Let's continue to look at the German proof marks. So you can see on the barrel, they've got the typical German proof marks. It's hard to read that, but that's the 1575. I don't know what that mark is. We'll have to have my guesses, and we'll talk about it momentarily. This has got the B underneath the serial number as the code. There's a couple of other proof marks here. Model 98 here. Again, this is the K98K. By World War II, they were looking for smaller, shorter, lighter rifles that were more maneuverable. The first K means carbine in German. And then Kurz in German means short. So the whole rifle has been shortened and lightened to make it more maneuverable compared to the original 1898 Mausers from World War I, which, designed more to be long and more hand-to-hand action with a bayonet. On the reverse side of the receiver, you can see the Waffenamt proof marks here. The eagle over a number, I think it says 453. It's really hard to make out. But the number indicates the inspection station or the inspector proof mark. There's another proof mark there. A little more close on that. Get a better close up on those. So these rear sights, they're ramped, as you can see. And on the top, marked out in meters. So right now it's set at 100 meters. We wanted to bump it up to 200 meters. And that raises the rear sight. It's got settings that go all the way out to 2,000 meters. But we'll put it back down to 100, which is a little more reasonable.
On the front, it has dovetail front sights.
A friend of the channel lent this to me to cover on this video. And he indicated that this had seen service in Iraq. And I believe that is what this proof mark right here is. A stylized Iraqi Jeem, which is an Arabic number. In this case, looks like it has a triangle stamped over it. It's also a similar mark right there. Not sure if that was a rough attempt or if it's a different mark altogether. Right above the B and Z is this other mark I have not been able to track down. It's really hard to make it out. Anybody has any clue, let me know. Here's one more look at those. In addition to that proof mark, you can see this painted on the stock. This is, I believe, a 2 in Arabic writing. So that would make this 020. And painting it on the stock like that was a common inventory technique for Egypt, Iraq, Syria, and Jordan, the Middle East, countries like that. It was not uncommon for them to paint the inventory number on them. And luckily, no one tried to wipe that off or get that off. It adds to the historical accuracy of this coming from Iraq. In addition to having the bolt replaced, you can see someone soldered the collar right there. Probably cracked or was coming loose after years of use. That could have been done at any time in the lifetime of this rifle. So how would a German weapon made in Austria in 1941 find its way to the service of the Iraqi military? The most likely answer is the Soviet Union acquired this weapon during or after World War II and sold it or gave it to the Iraqi military. The Soviet Union captured millions of these rifles, sent them to revolutionaries around the world, sold them onto the private market, which could have been acquired by Iraq from the private arms market. There's no provenance for this particular rifle to say exactly what its history is. But I think it's a reasonable guess that the Soviets captured it and sold it on to Iraq at a later time. How did a rifle that saw service in the Iraqi military end up in a collection in the United States? Well, the answer to that is going to be written right up here on the barrel. It says Fed Ordnance Inc., Federal Ordnance Inc., SEM, California. That's the importer's mark. So this was imported into the United States by Federal Ordnance. There's no guarantee what year it was imported, but probably in the early 1990s or late 1980s. Certainly by the 1980s, this rifle was obsolete, and the Iraqi Army surplused a lot of these to pay for the Iran-Iraq war. And it looks like this one made its way into the United States through Federal Ordnance importers. The Gulf War 1 and 2, Operation Desert Storm and then Operation Iraqi Shield, had pretty strict rules about bringing back functional firearms from the battlefield. It's not to say it didn't happen. Of course, I'm sure, like anything else, rank has privilege. If you're willing to fill out paperwork and you have the clout, I'm sure some of these came back functional from one or two of the Gulf Wars, but most of these were imported and have the importer marks. The bolt on this one is pretty smooth considering its age. Stay tuned and we'll take this to the range and shoot it.
Here's another close look of the mark above the B and Z. If you know what it is, let me know in the comments.
We're here on a very windy day at Hideaway Range, ready to shoot our Iraqi 8mm Mauser. Got a box of 8mm Mauser Premier Performance from Mitchell's Mauser. Well, let's shoot this. 5 rounds of 7.92, commonly called the 8mm Mauser. Even though it's made in 1941, it shoots just fine.